Hi, it's been a long time since I've done a walk with me video, and I feel like it's high time I got back to it, especially since it's getting warmer and sunnier here in Washington. I've been a little, I don't know, less likely to get out in the chilly raininess this past winter than I had been in years prior here. Been more apt to stay inside and read a book and be warm and cozy. So now I'm out. I'm out again, and it feels so good. And I want to talk about intuition and share some thoughts with you about that. Intellect is important, of course. To use our minds is important, and to be able to discern. The thing about discernment is it also requires a strong intuition to know what's right for you. Intuition is about not knowing what you should be doing, but knowing what's right for you. Because at the end of the day, what you should be doing is doing what's right for you. And that may not be what the rule books say. That may not be what your parents said. It may not be what your neighbors said, or your spouse, or your children, or your friends, or anybody else but you. It's about tuning in with your heart and really doing what's best for you. Now, sometimes you may think you're doing what's best for you when you're following along with what the rules and regulations say you should, because, there's fear under that. Fear of being punished, fear of not being accepted or liked or wanted, fear of failure. All kinds of fears get in the way of being able to know what's right for ourselves. All kinds of things get in the way of being able to truly listen, hear, and understand what our intuition has for us. And so if the process has not been begun to truly know one's self, to really understand yourself, and make some room in your life to be able to share your gifts with the world, to even find out what your gifts are, to clear the space of all the programming that has been conditioned into you by this crazy world. If that work hasn't been done yet, then the intuition is going to be covered up, muted. It's going to be there, but you might not hear it until it's screaming at you. Because usually intuition is quiet. Intuition is subtle. And intuition has to do with your felt sense of being in your body. And so often when we experience a lot of trauma and fear, it makes it hard to hear those messages coming from the body. So I'm going to guide a little meditation here to help to connect with your intuition. And I thought I'd come down here by the water to do that. There's this awesome tree growing out of these roots here that I'm going to show you. Let me see. Look at that. I think you could probably see it here. I'm so bright out, I don't even know what you're able to see. So there's a dead tree. There's a tree trunk here, and it looks dead. And there's these roots, and yet, look at that. There's a tree growing out of the roots. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. All right, so intuition. This tree did something counter to what logic would say. Logic would say, well, that's a dead tree. It's done. But the inner truth is that this tree grew out of it anyways, regardless of what logic might say. That's intuition. And so sometimes it's hard for us to follow our intuition because we have a lot of logic in the way. We have a lot of people telling us what we should be doing or what is realistic. What is realistic? Well, you can't do that. That's not realistic. Well, I'm here to tell you that this idea of what is realistic isn't as real as we think it is. It's not as real as we think it is. And so it is up to us to go into our minds and find out, where are we getting in our own way? Where are we getting in the way of this amazing life that wants to emerge? Where are we getting in the way of living intuitively, which is in communion with life, communion with nature, communion with the energy that underlies everything, that is, you could call it the Tao, that concept from the beautiful philosophy of the Eastern traditions and Lao Tzu and the Tao is what is underlying everything. And when we tap into that rhythm, which is a completely different rhythm than the man-made structures that we've put on everything that, well, maybe you didn't and I didn't, but have been put in place to kind of redirect that energy in ways that are about manipulation and control and domination over nature versus going with nature. So let's do a little meditation to go with nature today, to go with nature. Nature is loving. Nature is creating. Nature is also destroying. Nature is continually rebirthing itself. Nature is ever evolving and ever changing. So we're going to do a little self-reflection first, and I want you just to take a couple of breaths and think about this idea of evolution, that the natural tendency is to evolve and to change. And think about where in your life there has been some rigidity or resistance to change, to keep things in a state of sameness. And just feel into what that feels like in your body when we try to keep things the same all the time. Yeah, our ego wants it to be the same because it's afraid of change. Ego wants everything to stay the same. Where in your life are you afraid to make those changes that would be conducive to your growth, your evolution, and to growing newness? And you may not have an answer to that right away, but see what comes up in your body. Be present to what is arising in your body as you think about this. Where in your life is there constriction or a tendency to put a restriction to keep things the same. Things have to always be the same. Or where have things been imposed upon you that feels constricting or restricting or not right, just not right for you? Just take a minute to think about that and notice what's coming in your body, what your body's telling you, what the sensations in your body are. And take a few deep breaths. Create some space with your breath. See what sounds you hear. Go down into your body and feel your heart, feel your gut. Feel your feet. And invite in an idea, image, or a sense of lightness, as in not heavy, but light. Lightness. Maybe there's a symbol that represents lightness to you, where you can lift up, uplift, become lighter. In this space where you can become lighter, you're actually making room for the intuition to be sensed, to be felt, to be known, to be heard. And it's usually your gut feeling about something, and maybe even a sense of hearing, or even in your third eye, a perceiving, a seeing. So feeling, ask yourself, what is right for me? And just wait and see what comes. Practice listening. Practice listening. Listening to your gut, listening to your inner voice, the source energy, the spiritual, the non-physical, the energetic. And the intuition is always loving, always kind, always uplifting for you, always there to help you know what's true for you. Even if it's telling you not to do something, it's not shaming you or blaming you or punishing you for any of it. It's just saying, nope, not for me. So then it's our job to trust it and act on it. If my intuition, if I'm feeling a sense of connection with doing something, I'm feeling it feels right, I'm going to do that if I can. And if there's a sense or thought that I can't do that, then we need to look at that and find out, is that true? Ask the question, if you ever think, I can't do that, if your intuition is saying, do this, and you think, I can't do that, ask, is that true? Is that really true? What I'm saying, oh, that's not possible, or I can't do that, or that'll never happen. Is that really true? Where's that voice coming from? Is that my intuition? Probably not. Probably not. Because I do believe, and my intuition says, and this is an age-old adage, where there's a will, there's a way. You've heard of that, right? There's these nuggets of truth that are sprinkled around in all of the sacred texts. Where there's a will, there's a way. You might have another phrase that means something like that for you. There's always a way. There's always a way through. Even if things seem really bad. Sometimes it just takes an opening of a perception in your mind to say, okay, I'm willing to believe it's possible. I'm willing to believe. The intuition is saying, yeah, this is follow this. And then maybe the ego comes in and says, no, that'll never happen. Okay, is that true? All right, no. I'm willing to believe that it's possible, that there is a way through this. I'm willing to believe. I'm willing to trust you, my intuition. I'm willing to listen to you. All right. So that's the little guidance on intuition I wanted to bring through for us today. Yeah. So remember that tree. Whenever you say, I can't, that can't happen, that's not logical, that's not realistic. Look at this thing. And look at that. Look at that. There it is. It's doing it anyways. It's doing it anyways. Yeah. I'm sending you lots of love from the Olympic Mountains here in Washington. Peace. Blessings. Ciao for now.